Wellington's harbour, Wellington's south coast I should say, is taking on 70 million litres of raw sewage a day, where damage at the Moa Point water treatment plant could take months to fix. Locals have been told to stay out of the water ahead of the sunny long weekend, with a stench in the air and obvious warning to what's floating around. Joining me now is the Wellington Mayor Andrew Little. Andrew, good morning. First of all, any idea, is this still flowing, pumping out right now as we speak?
Yes, it is. Until until they can get power back to the plant and get enough of the plant functioning so that slightly better treated sewage can be pumped out to the long outfall, which is about 2 kilometres offshore, then untreated sewage is going to continue to go about 5 metres offshore on the south coast.
5 metres. So this is, to be clear, this is number ones, this is number twos, and this is toilet paper. 5 metres going straight into the beach.
Everything that people put down the toilet is stuff that's now going out on the south coast about 5 metres offshore at Moa Point.
Right. It doesn't get much worse than that, does it? And still no idea exactly how?
No, it's going to be a while, I think, before we understand the cause. I mean, what I'm told is that the amount of water and wastewater that was going through the plant at the time that it failed was well within its safe working limits, but something happened and the whole plant failed. So it's a catastrophic failure. A beggar's belief. I can't understand what might have happened, but we need to know. We need to get the fix done as quickly as possible. Then we need to understand what happened and prevent it from happening again.
How far does that travel, the sewage? Obviously, you wouldn't want to go near Lyell Bay, but how far should you avoid?
Well, the areas that we're now, we've told people to stay away from and are actively monitoring it run from Herald Bay to the west and right around to Breaker Bay. Wellington Water is going to monitor right as far around as Seatoon. We don't expect there to be any contamination going up the channel and round into anywhere in the harbour, but just as a precaution. But people should stay away from the beaches from sort of Breaker Bay around to Herald Bay until further notice, until we know the plant is back up and running and we're pumping stuff and 2 kilometres offshore, not 5 metres.
When that happens, when you get to the 2Ks offshore, does that mean people go back to the beach, or is there still a risk it could come in on the tide?
Well, the advice I've had is that it'll be safe to go back on the beach. Might need a couple of days, just a bit of stuff to sort of sluice through and wash anything out, but it should be safe to go back on the beach. The water still risks a level of contamination, but what will happen is Wellington Water and I think Greater Wellington Regional Council will intensively monitor the water. I'm adamant that we need to make sure that those results are available every day to people. I know that there'll be surfers and kayakers and others who are ready to go out on the water. There'll be a limit to how long they can stay away from it. But we get to a point where the discharge is at least less risky, then we can give people information and advice, and they can decide whether or not they want to go into the water.
Andrew, we heard that yesterday there were people surfing. What's your message to them?
Yeah, look, just stay away for now. The risk is great because the discharge is going very close inshore, and the way the currents are working or do work in high tide and low tide is it will wash around Lyell Bay, potentially around Island Bay area, and even as far as Herald Bay. So my advice is for the sake of your own health, stay away. Wellington Water says they will get the long outfall functioning within a few days. And I'm going to hold them to that. But for right now, stay away from the water as well as the beach.
Are you satisfied with their answers so far, their response so far?
Well, the response has been what the response. I mean, I got told between about 6 and 6:30 yesterday morning that there had been a sewage leak. It was another couple of hours before I kind of was advised about the gravity of the problem and that it was a complete plant failure. And they've been onto it ever since. I think until we know what the cause is, and we won't really be able to say could this have been prevented. We need to know. We need to have some assurance, however, that once we do know what the cause is, that anything we can do to prevent it from happening again, that those precautions are being taken.
And what time so you were told at 6 to 6:30, what time did it actually happen?
One in the morning was when the alert went to Fens for some reason. That's the other thing that Wellington Water are telling me they don't quite understand. The alerts didn't go to the contractors responsible for maintenance for the site. They were eventually told when Fens turned up and realised it wasn't a problem for them. So we need to understand what happened with the alert system. It didn't seem to function as intended.
And what time did they realise that it was a complete plant failure?
I haven't got clarity from them. I mean, I wasn't told until between about 8:30 and 9, and so I don't know who knew what when between sort of that 1 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. sort of span of time. As I say, I wasn't told until around that latter time that it was a complete plant failure.
Would you expect to be told, I mean, something of this magnitude straight away?
Yeah, I think this is a big deal. A whole plant, a sewage plant in a big city goes down, and we're putting 70 million litres a day of untreated sewage into our coastline. Yeah, I'd expect to know as soon as possible.
Is there any indication, or have you had, since coming into the job, any reports or briefings about potential issues at the plant?
No, not for the Moa Point sewage plant. It's been there for 30 years. It's, as I understand, it's had all the upgrades and maintenance that's been expected over that period of time. There's been nothing indicated to me in the time I've been there, or even before, that is a plant that's at risk or in need of replacement. We have the sludge minimisation plant construction going on next door to it. However, what's happening there is unrelated to what happened to the treatment plant. I don't know whether what happened with the treatment plant is a freak accident or what. We won't know until we sort of do the investigation and find out the cause, but it just beggars belief that in this day and age that there could be such a catastrophic failure.
Yeah, 100%. It is a big deal for not only for people swimming, but obviously for the wildlife and everything. Andrew, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for being with me.
Thanks, Ryan.
Andrew Little, who's the Wellington Mayor, and to my mum, who swims every day at Lyle Bay. Not today, Mum.